Everyone who sees this deck box thinks the same thing. Yeah, this looks incredible. But this deck box is hiding more functionality inside than most deck boxes even attempt to have. It looks like someone finally figured out that beautiful and functional aren't mutually exclusive. Welcome to Absolute Cardboard, and today we're taking a look at the Command Tome, a 3D printed commander-focused deck box from Spellcaster Supply on Etsy. For full disclosure, I reached out to them and asked for a review copy. They were happy to send one with the understanding that my review would be my honest and unbiased opinion. Immediately upon looking at the Command Tome, I noticed two things, and you probably did too. First, this is modeled to look like, well, a tome. The curved spine to the latch binding. This brings the Spellbook fantasy to life in a terrific way. There are windows on the front and back for commanders, or art cards, or partners, or companions, or whatever. In my case, Spellcaster Supply was kind enough to engrave the spine with my favorite commander, Afara. And in my case, I actually have two Afaras, one normal with this custom inner sleeve cover, and then the secret layer version. I never know really which version I want to use for my commander at any given time, but with the Command Tome, I actually have both ready to go and fashion forward facing. The other thing you'll notice about the Command Tome is that this is one big son of a bitch, like it's teetering on the edge of being a command cube. Now, here are the full dimensions of the exterior, as well as the empty weight of the box. Going back to that latch, this latch is actually composed of two pieces. Each catch mechanically in grooves, but they are also magnetized, and of course they actually latch together, giving you yet another level of security in making sure this tome stays bound. The latch also has a slot for the included dry erase marker, which makes sense because you do get a few blank dry erase cards with the box, but also lots of notebooks and journals these days have pin attachments. It's a small detail, but it's thematic and practical, one of the many areas of thought that went into the form and function of this deck box. Since each side, front and back, open independently, you can actually open the box using both doors at the same time. And when opening both at the same time, I get this feeling that the box shares an old spiritual bond with those cars with the doors that go up, the scissor doors, though it probably has less entanglement with the douchebagosphere. Now, the inside of the doors look a little busy, so let's get to those later, and for now, let's focus on the inside, because my mother always tells me it's what's on the inside that counts. Your mother also tells me stuff about her insides, but we'll save the details of that for Patreon members only. The interior is a two-tiered system. The bottom is the main compartment, and we'll focus on that for now. The compartment has these little brown handles that allow you to simply slide the compartment out. And for all parts of the interior, you can actually slide them out through either the front or the rear, depending on which cover you have open. The main compartment will hold 150 single-sleeved cards pretty snugly. It will hold a whopping 100 double-sleeved cards and about 30 to 40 unsleeved cards, depending on which inner sleeves you plan on use for double sleeving. Like the inner seal ones, you'll obviously have a little bit less room for unsleeved tokens or whatnot. For normal commander usage, you can get 100 single-sleeved cards and about, this is actually a lot, 80 unsleeved tokens or dry erase cards, so perfect for your Selesnya token decks. For specific information, here is the dimensions of the interior main compartment. Now, speaking of dry erase cards, the box does come with a few, as well as the normal marketing materials and this here divider. Now, this divider has little nubs on the side, which align with the grooves in the main compartment on either side. I assume the theory is that you can slide the divider along the little grooves, though I find that a little clunky in the divider sometimes. Kind of gets stuck in one groove, but the others smooth, are gliding very smoothly on the other side, and it kind of leaves a tilted or crooked divider. I do like the idea, but in practice, it leaves a little bit to be desired. Having said that, I will more than likely just sand these down or cut them with scissors or whatever, and just use it raw, like Old Dirty Bastard intended. Checking the upper decker, we'll notice similar handles, and we can slide this tray out to reveal a dice and counter tray. It has indentations for 3d20s, a generic storage area, which is I think is pretty much there to hold 8d6, and it holds it very well. You can obviously use whichever dice you prefer, but I do recommend at least a few d6s, and we'll get to why in a little bit. But for now, let's look at this little mystery row. This lid lifts up and snaps into place to reveal an adjustable counter tray. The Command Tome comes with 24 counters of all the cool Magic the Gathering abilities, from +1/+1 counters to flying counters to the counter that signifies you would rather be playing chess, even all the way to the counter that signals you're in defeat stuff. This tray fits the counters that come with the box, but also generally fits the punch-out tokens from Commander Precons and whatnot. The counter tray also has a groove on the bottom, and this stopper that slides in. I find this works much better than the slider divider from the main compartment, but if you need a little bit of extra space, you can just take the stopper out. And I mentioned before that you will want some D6s as well as the D20s, and that's for some of the functionality on the inner walls of the front and back panels. The inner front panel is the command zone. First and foremost, you'll want to slide out this life counter, and the life counter itself is totally fine. It's a dual disc life counter that goes from 0 to 99. The numbers are secure and won't change from an accidental jostle. It is fairly small and lightweight, making it an unobtrusive addition to the box overall, even if you aren't particularly interested in it. Now that leads us to the command zone proper. This has the most commander display options that I've ever seen in like a single command zone. It's really well thought out. I think there's 4 in total. The first being simply turning over the top loader in its normal outward panel state. You get the view of the art, the card name, and the mana value, at least on traditional card framing. I can't say that for every booster fun variant, but fear not. You can also put the top loader into these grooves along the side of the top of the command zone. For the very top angle, you can put it in and you'll get an angled yet flattish position. The very bottom one turns out to be exactly upright, a 90 degrees, and the middle one will have an angling towards yourself, the player. My assumption being that you actually flip the commander face out to make the other players be able to see your commander a little bit easier. Now, not only that, but it works for commander partners. You have one in the major window with the companion laying in one of the top slots, or however you prefer. Seriously, the world is your oyster in regards to this particular command zone. Additionally, it does have various slots for particular dice. The bottom 3 for 3d20s, the ones that you would be holding in that tray that I mentioned earlier, and these 2 slots will actually track commander damage from d6s. If you do happen to use partners, you actually have 2 places to track your commander attacks. Moving to the back panel, we can actually see the ability tracker panel. If you need a single, say, flying counter, you can just put that flying counter on the creature. But if you need multiple counters, like a +1/+1, slide one of these out like this, put the singular counter into the circular groove on here, and then a dice into the other space. And that will show you how many you have, and voila, you have multiple counters. Now, this is a very clever and unobtrusive way to make use of space. If you don't like them, don't need to use them. But that back wall was going to need some support or to hold something, so might as well make that area something usable. Before I get to who this might be for, there are a few points that I feel that I need to bring up. First, this is a 3D printed deck box, as most of my deck box reviews are, and it has a lot of trappings the 3D printed deck boxes can have. If you hold it at arm's length, it looks really good. It's really nice, but the closer you get, you'll see tons of print lines, glooping, ridges. In fact, the closer you get, the more this starts to resemble a facial scan of Edward James Olmos. Secondly, this deck box is loose. The deck box stayed secure from a minor tumbling, but a lot of the components are not snug, which makes sense given how many different doohickeys are in this. That being said, I don't think this is a throw in your bag deck box. It's not necessarily that I don't trust it to stay secure. This is actually a pretty strong latch system. I just don't think this would I don't think this would survive a drop onto a hard floor. So it doesn't need to be treated super carefully, but you do need to be somewhat attentive to any precarious situations you could put this in. And lastly, this thing is fidgety as hell. The magnetic latches, the life counter, even sliding just the life counter in and out of the panel, the activity trackers. There's just a lot of things to click and to press, and you can do all of that. It's very satisfying. This receives top marks for fidgetiness. With that out of the way, who exactly is this for? Well, first and foremost, this is a luxury item, and I have mentioned previous deck boxes that are luxuries, but this might be the most luxurious of them all. At the time of recording, it's over 100 USD, and I try not to get into if something is worth the money because that changes depending on how much money you have, which I don't know and I don't really want to know. The best I can do is give an honest opinion on it and inform as much as I can about the deck box that I think is relevant and let you make your own decision. Now, on the other side of that coin, you actually get a lot for this deck box. a spacious main compartment, 2 top loaders, 2 window panels, a life counter, one of the better command zones I've seen. You get dry erase cards, you get the dry erase pen, you get a divider, and it's all very thematic and wrapped in a very stylized, nice box. So while I can't necessarily say that this is worth your money or not, I can say that you do pay a lot for this, but you also get a lot. And it all works together, and it's all in a pretty compact package. So if you're looking for a single deck box to take to a con or somewhere special or to kind of just show off, but still have everything that you actually need to play Commander, this is a pretty great package. And with Secrets of Strixhaven coming up, this is a pretty thematic box. If the whole wizard school thing is your vibe, it has a few customizable panel options. Mine are white and blue in this kind of, I think it's Valkyrie, but there are other options. I'll show a couple here. It's one of those systems that allows you to kind of build to a specific thing. Also, like I said, I've got the custom Afara tag, but you can make your own, and then you can kind of tailor it to your own specific guild or Strixhaven school of your choice. And I think those are pretty cool options. And I think most importantly, if you are appreciative of really small details, you will really enjoy this deck box. Obviously, to fit all of these things into one relatively compact package is very impressive, but there's also another level of detail. Here, let me show you. It's something like this. See the top of these book pages? They are more or less flat, right? As you would expect a book to be. The bottom, however, has kind of a severe curve to it, and I initially thought this was just kind of a side effect of how it was 3D printed. But this deck box wants to be opened on its side. If you have it on its back and pull the interior parts straight up, stuff can fall out of those trays, which is not a very good thing. So when you do open the panels while it's on its side, that curve on the bottom takes up the spots of support that the outer panels had previously provided, meaning that if you open it up completely, it isn't tilted facing downwards. It's something super small, and you'll hardly notice it unless you care about those things. And it's attention to details like this that makes the Commander Tome an open and shut case. Or book. Or tome, whatever. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. You can watch all my reviews of fancy deck boxes and gaming accessories here. And if you want to support the channel a little bit further, you can join my Patreon. It's only $3 and you'll get early and behind the scenes video. All QR codes and links to products are affiliate links. So if you get this deck box, you would be supporting the channel and getting yourself cool gear as well. Thank you very much, and I will see you around.